We're kicking off with WWE and an Elimination Chamber Toronto. Seth Rollins came up short in the men's match, but left CM Punk knocked out thanks to a post-elimination stomp. CM Punk was not happy at all when he kicked off Raw in Buffalo, and standing on the announce table, he called out The Rock and John Cena for being frauds. Punk said he's never been delusional enough to wear a fake title and proclaim himself the People's Champion, saying that he's earned that status, a direct shot at the final boss. Taking aim at Cena, Punk said that John has been selling the fans bullshit and playing on Cena's never give up mantra, said John gave up on himself, the fans, and the kids. He then directed attention to Seth Rollins and, addressing Becky Lynch, bid the former Women's World Champion to come get her man. Rollins came out and the pair immediately brawled with WWE officials trying to separate them, but that didn't help. The pair really wanted to get their hands on each other and would roll around the ring throwing punches before WWE officials flooded the ring and were able to separate them. Later in the night, Rollins spotted Punk walking and rushed to him without hesitation, and security and WWE officials, including Adam Pearce, once again had to intervene. Punk screamed, "I'm gonna kill you," and a frustrated Pearce had had enough and made a blockbuster announcement coming back from a commercial break. Pearce shared that next week at the Raw in Madison Square Garden, Punk and Rollins will settle the score, this time in a steel cage match. With WrestleMania 41 approaching, this steel cage match in the famed arena is huge, and with no interference and nowhere to run, this could be the most brutal chapter of their rivalry so far. Seth Rollins has truly made an enemy of CM Punk, and fans should remember that it was Rollins who attacked Roman Reigns following their Royal Rumble match elimination. Whenever WWE brings Reigns back, he'll have his sights set on the former Shield ally, and with Reigns and Punk also having issues, this sets the stage for a huge triple threat at WrestleMania. Having a steel cage match between the two next week certainly indicates that Reigns will be back on the March 10th Raw, fitting return for the OTC, inside the world's most famous arena. Are you excited about the idea of a triple threat match, or would you rather this be a one-on-one match at WrestleMania 41? Share your thoughts down below. With the road to WrestleMania 41 well underway, fans are eager to see what CM Punk will do next, but this week, the Best of the World saw a major change. Last month, WWE announced Punk's return to the UK, stating he'd appear at the March 24th Raw in Glasgow and the following week's show in London, but that tweet has since been deleted. In a more recent post about Punk from WWE UK's Instagram, Punk is no longer listed for those events and is also absent from WWE.com's events page for the two UK shows. Instead, Punk is now advertised for Raw in Brussels, Belgium on March 17th, SmackDown in Bologna, Italy on March 21st, and SmackDown in London, England on March 28th. The news will be disappointing to fans who brought tickets for the March 24th and March 31st Raw tapings, but it goes to show the mantra that the card is always subject to change. Bianca Belair was asked about Jade Cargill's attack on Naomi at Elimination Chamber, but the EST refused to answer and will instead wait to speak to both Jade and Naomi. There is a plot hole of why Belair hasn't spoken to either woman in the days since Elimination Chamber, but fans can chalk that up to WWE wanting their angles to play out on TV. In the background of Belair's segment, Natalya and Maxine Dupree were seen talking just 1 week after the pair were seen speaking together in the medical room. This could certainly be setting up a tag team or some kind of partnership between the two, as Natalya is no stranger to taking the younger, more inexperienced women under her wing. Bianca Belair came out to ringside for the main event between Women's World Champion Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, a match that'll decide who Belair will challenge at WrestleMania. This was an excellent match between two of WWE's best women competing today, though a confrontation between Rhea and Bianca did suggest a possible DQ finish. That didn't happen as referee Jessica Carr kept order and prevented Belair and Ripley from coming to blows, and the match would continue until the shocking conclusion. The match saw Sky get the win, capturing the Women's World title, and given Ripley star power, it's hard not to see this as something of an upset. This means Sky will walk into WrestleMania as the WWE Women's World Champion after Ripley allowed herself to be distracted by Belair at ringside. With that said, it's practically impossible that WWE will now host WrestleMania without Ripley, so the question now is how will Rhea earn her place back on the two-night show? This is a strong match that featured necessary interference from Belair, who is effectively holding her own with two major storylines, the title hunt and the Jade Cargill-Naomi drama. Assuming that the plan is for all three women to face off at WrestleMania, Sky's winning was a necessity to ensure what should be an exciting triple threat. Sky couldn't afford the loss, while Belair had already solidified her spot on the card, and Ripley is frankly bulletproof from a creative standpoint. Props has to be given to Michael Cole's commentary, as he pointed out that Sky has beaten Rhea in their previous two matches, the first being as part of the 2018 Mae Young Classic. The second was at NXT In Your House 2020 in a triple threat that included Charlotte Flair, and now Sky has a third victory to her name against one of WWE's most developed women. Ripley can evoke her rematch, slide into the WrestleMania match, and compete against Sky and Belair in what would be a true main event in any other year. We've mentioned Sky had needed to win if WWE's plan is for a triple threat match, but there's another reason why this surprising title change took place. The match gave fans a huge, shocking moment as few people, if anybody, expected Ripley to lose the title less than 2 months after winning it back and mere weeks before WrestleMania. Triple H has proven that the road to WrestleMania is always filled with surprises, and her loss was a genuine shock in an era where so many plans are leaked in advance. On Raw, there was yet another segment with the Judgment Day that saw Dominik Mysterio suggest adding a new member, which was yet again turned down by Finn Balor. Balor said the Judgment Day doesn't need a new member, but after weeks and weeks of the same segment, it's hard not to believe that something is coming. Later in the show, as the Creeds were making their way backstage to Gorilla, fans spotted Dominik in the background talking to Karrion Kross, possibly a tease of Kross joining. With the Final Testament being no more, it's possible Kross could find himself in another faction soon enough, though of course fans couldn't hear what was being said between Kross and Dirty Dom. It's possible that the pair didn't discuss Kross joining, and one can't count out the idea that Dom was talking to Kross about getting rid of Finn Balor as a member of the faction. An interview between Intercontinental Champion Bron Breakker and Jackie Redmond was interrupted by Finn Balor, who talked trash and claimed to be untouchable in the ring. Breakker exited the stands where he'd been speaking with Jackie and entered the ring where he'd targeted Balor, only to be confronted by Carlito and Dominik Mysterio. Though Bron took them out, he found himself on the defensive against Balor, but the champ was able to recover and chase Balor off. The Intercontinental Champion then flattened Carlito to send a message, and it appears that Breakker's road to WrestleMania 41 will run through the Judgment Day. That may not appeal to everyone, but it is the perfect utilization of everyone involved, especially without anything more significant planned for these superstars in Las Vegas's Allegiant Stadium. Balor will be a great opponent for Breakker, and if Mysterio is inserted into this match, it'd only further sow the seeds of tension in the Judgment Day. Now, Bo Dallas hasn't wrestled since the December 9th Raw, and fans would speculate that an awkward landing during a Karrion Kross move injured Bo, though Kross denied being to blame. Whatever reason for Bo's injury, it led to the group being pulled from TV, and Bo would not appear at a photo op ahead of the 2025 Royal Rumble Premium Live event. Though this has led to more talk about the injury, Mike Johnson of PW Insider reports that Bo was never scheduled for it and said Bo was not traveling with WWE, confirming he was on the shelf. In an update from PWN, it's revealed that Bo Dallas has been cleared to wrestle, meaning it shouldn't be long before fans see the Wyatt Six back on WWE TV. Bo's return will be a major step for the faction, who have been waiting for the right moment to make their presence felt as part of SmackDown. With Alexa Bliss possibly joining the group, WWE could be preparing for one of the most haunting angles in a very long time now that Dallas has been cleared. But who would you like the Wyatt Six to target first when they return to programming? Should they continue to beef with The Miz, or do you have someone else in mind? Let us know below. With Penta now in WWE, fans have been waiting to see his brother Rey Fenix join him, and this week Fenix was removed from the AEW website's roster. Not only that, but Fightful Select has reported that Fenix is now a free agent, and the Masked Star is expected to sign with WWE in the very near future. Fenix alluded to inhumane treatment in AEW and being ignored when needing medical help, and with his All Elite run over, it seems inevitable that he'll become a WWE superstar. Chad Gable finally reappeared on Raw after a brief break, but he wasn't in the arena with American Made and was in a completely different location, which may have been Mexico. A mysterious figure who resembled a race-changed Mr. Miyagi from the Karate Kid appeared with a box that Gable was willing to purchase for $500. The mystery man told Gable that he cannot conquer that which he doesn't understand, and it's certainly going to be interesting to see what's next. Gable will have mixed feelings when he comes back because he will presumably have a greater awareness of how to handle the Lucha Libre style. There's also now the question of whether this could be how WWE introduces Rey Fenix, either as an adversary of Gable alongside Penta, or perhaps even as someone on Gable's side. But what do you think of this segment? Do you think this storyline will lead to Rey Fenix's debut, or does WWE have something else in mind? Share your thoughts down in the comments. While Chad Gable was away paying for mysterious boxes, Brutus and Julius Creed were in the ring in Buffalo as they challenged the War Raiders for the World Tag Team titles. This was a physical battle over the titles, with the challengers using their outstanding athleticism to gain control and cut the champions off from one another. That's not to say the champions didn't also show athleticism, but the 450 splash from Brutus and the shooting star press from Julius were truly outstanding to see. Eric and Ivar fought their way back, and after hitting a running crossbody that sandwiched Julius between Ivar and the LED apron, the champs hit War Machine on Brutus to retain. Despite being another loss, this was another highlight reel for the Creeds, who are proving that they may be the most premier tag team in WWE today, even without the titles. With that said, it was the bigger, stronger, nastier War Raiders who won, but whether they can hold off American-made for much longer is a big question. More from Raw as the World Heavyweight Champion Gunther faced Otis 1 week after the Ring General's attack on the Alpha Academy powerhouse. This match was an excellent display of a believable champion being pushed to the brink by a man whose abilities are far beyond the comedy and fun-loving side fans know him for. Otis matched Gunther blow for blow, and for a moment, Otis had fans believing he'd do the unthinkable and beat Gunther, one of the best strikers in the business. Ultimately, Gunther outlasted him and scored the win with an impressive powerbomb and would continue his attack after the match until Jey Uso made the save and chased him off. A-Town Down Under's Austin Theory and Grayson Waller attacked Uso, and while Jey was about to clear them from the ring, he would fall victim to a choke from Gunther. The World Heavyweight Champion choked out the man he'll face at WrestleMania 41 to stand tall and close out this segment. This was a great match between two talented heavyweights, and with a little WrestleMania hype thrown in, this was an excellent follow-up to what happened last week. This also sets the stage for Uso to fend off Theory and Waller in the coming weeks, adding another obstacle for Jey to overcome ahead of the biggest match of his career. Later in the night, Jey Uso cut an impassioned promo backstage saying that Gunther putting him to sleep with a choke has awoken a beast inside of him. Gunther may want to give Jey weeks of hell, but Jey is ready for the Ring General's tactics and is preparing to unleash the beast at WrestleMania 41 and become world champion. Sometimes Jey's promos can come across as too goofy and too yeet-centric, but this promo showed the serious side of Uso and effectively showed just how much this match means to him. This intense attitude is what Jey should be showing ahead of the biggest match in his life, one that could prove once and for all why he's in the spot he's in. At Elimination Chamber, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn battled in an unsanctioned match in Toronto's Rogers Center, meaning WWE waived all legal responsibility for what happened. This match was brutal and included weapons such as chairs, tables, and even a chair wrapped in barbed wire, and it turns out WWE granted a special request for the match. In the closing moments, Zayn got a near fall after a blue thunder bomb onto chairs, but Owens then wrapped a chair around Sami's neck and sent him into the ring post twice. Owens followed up by delivering a powerbomb on the apron, followed by a second one to secure the victory in one of the most brutal WWE matches this year. Fightful Select's Sean Ross Sapp reports that the barbed wire used in the match was neither gimmicked nor shaved down, as legit wire was requested by at least one talent. Post-match, Owens continued to assault Zayn until Randy Orton made a surprise return and hit Owens with an RKO, but was unable to hit the punt kick as security stopped him. WWE is clearly building the Owens-Orton feud, which will likely culminate in a match at WrestleMania 41, marking the second year in a row that they'll have faced off at the event. As for Zayn, it remains to be seen what WWE has planned for him, as the former Intercontinental Champion showed why he's one of the best to do it last week in Toronto. Whatever WWE has planned for Sami Zayn, it won't be anything in the immediate future, as Michael Cole stated on Raw that his condition was re-aggravated at Elimination Chamber. Cole added that Sami will be out of action indefinitely, and while this prognosis isn't good, fans don't have to worry about a serious real-life injury. Fightful Select reports that there were no reports of serious injuries after the PLE, but many wrestlers left Toronto with bumps, bruises, and scrapes. Given that this show had a ton of dangerous spots, it's fortunate that there were no serious injury, and this is a huge relief to fans eager to see WWE's top stars in the ring. Backstage, AJ Styles expressed his shock at John Cena's heel turn, and Karrion Kross once again proved to be the devil on the shoulder of the Phenomenal One. In an interesting twist though, AJ didn't seem angry or frustrated by Kross and what he had to say, and instead seemed receptive of the points being made. Rather than rejecting what Kross was saying, this interaction was a lot friendlier, and Kross mentioned the new generation of talent that have been coming in. AJ again seemed receptive to that and even vowed to call out Logan Paul next week on Raw from Madison Square Garden, which was what Kross wanted Styles to do. Styles declared that he has his evil ways, which wasn't just a tease of a heel turn, but a nod to one of his theme songs in TNA during a time where he played a much darker character. Has Karrion Kross laid the groundwork for yet another heel turn? It certainly seems possible, though there's no chance fans would boo AJ in a feud over Logan Paul. Nevertheless, AJ could be the next face Kross wants to turn to the dark side, and the story of whether Styles rejects or accepts Kross's tactics will prove to be compelling viewing. Unfortunate news about Asuka now, as Bodyslam.net's Cassidy Haynes reports that she isn't expected to return for at least a couple more months, meaning she'll likely miss WrestleMania. WWE is reportedly taking a cautious approach to Asuka's recovery after she suffered a knee injury 10 months ago that she later underwent knee surgery for. Asuka worked through the injury for months, including at WWE Backlash France, where Damage Control lost the WWE Women's Tag Team titles to Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. After announcing that she was stepping away for surgery, Asuka has continued to keep fans updated on her rehab through vlogs on her YouTube channel. In January, it was reported that creative plans, including a potential tag match, had been pitched for Asuka's return, but they were ultimately scrapped. There's been no word on her training at the Performance Center, which is a typical sign of a return, and Asuka hasn't shared any major recovery updates either. With WrestleMania 41 drawing closer, it appears WWE will hold off on Asuka's return until after the show, and even with no official return date, fans are eager to see what's next for the Empress. Backstage, Liv Morgan told Raquel Rodriguez to keep an eye on the Women's Intercontinental Championship match, hinting at a future program over the gold. With the title on the line, Lyra Valkyria faced Ivy Nile, and it was Nile who controlled during a commercial break as she worked on the left knee of the champion. Nile slowed the pace of the match and slowed her opponent's attacks, but Valkyria fought back and attempted to hit Nightwing, but the champion tweaked her knee. And she continued to torture the champion and target the injured limb, leaving fans speculating on a title change. In the end, though, an ill-fated running boot in the corner missed the mark and allowed Valkyria to hit Nightwing for the gutsy victory and to retain. This was a strong match that spotlighted Nile, but also proved the Valkyries' grit and resilience, meaning both women came out of this looking stronger than when they went in. More important, they continue to build the credibility of the Women's Intercontinental title as momentum continues to build on the back of a quality in-ring match. This was the best Nile has looked on TV in a while as she carried herself with confidence and delivered her portion of the match to near perfection. Nile shined brightest in her biggest opportunity to date, but Lyra Valkyria is proving to be as tough as they come as champion. More from next week's Raw, as it was announced that Dragon Lee will team with Rey Mysterio inside Madison Square Garden to face the New Day in a Tornado Tag Team match. WWE are certainly stacking the card for its return to its old stomping ground, as there will be plenty for fans to tune in for next week. And that was Raw, and what did you think of the show? Let us know down below.